The most brilliant mind at MIT isn't a student, instead a person who cleans the floors. Will Hunting, a janitor at MIT, possesses extraordinary intelligence that surpasses that of MIT students. Despite his brilliance, he could not land a decent job and resides alone in a poorly furnished apartment in a poverty-stricken neighborhood in South Boston. Professor Gerald Lambeau, a Fields medalist and professor at MIT, posts a difficult combinatorial mathematics problem on a blackboard as a challenge for his graduate students, expecting the problem to remain unsolved for a long period of time. However, the problem is solved in just a few days. Everyone wonders who solved it, but nobody admits it. As a challenge to the unknown genius, Professor Lambeau posts an even more difficult problem, one that took him and his colleagues 2 years to prove. He later catches Will writing the solution on the blackboard late at night, but initially thinks Will is vandalizing it and chases him off. Although initially mistaken for a vandal, Will's true talent is revealed when he correctly solves the problem. This leads Professor Lambeau to recognize Will's potential as a mathematician. Meanwhile, at a bar, Will meets Skylar, a British woman about to graduate from Harvard College. Will successfully impresses Skylar thanks to his vast knowledge on historical facts and is able to get her number. As an abused foster child, Will subconsciously blames himself for his unhappy upbringing and turns this self-loathing into a form of self-sabotage. After Will is arrested for attacking a police officer, Professor Lambeau arranges for Will to avoid jail time if he agrees to study mathematics under his supervision and participate in psychotherapy sessions to address his anger and defensive behavior. Will chooses the latter option, though he is initially reluctant to accept the need for therapy. Will indeed proves his talent in mathematics while working with Professor Lambeau on complex math problems. Several therapists fail to make a connection with Will, but Professor Lambeau's old friend and former MIT classmate, Sean Maguire, emerges as a unique figure. Unlike other therapists, Sean actually challenges Will's defense mechanisms. During the first session, Will insults Sean's deceased wife, and Sean threatens him, but after a few unproductive sessions, Will finally begins to open up. Sean's persistence and genuine understanding eventually break through Will's defensive walls, leading to a deeper doctor-patient relationship. This doctor-patient relationship, however, is far from one-sided. Will challenges Sean in the same way that Sean is encouraging Will to take a good, hard, objective look at himself and his life. Sean's own pathology is that he is unable and unwilling to even consider another romantic relationship in the aftermath of his beloved wife's death from cancer several years before, possibly the primary reason why Sean agrees to take Will on as a client. In a later session, Will is particularly struck when Sean tells him how he gave up his ticket to see the Red Sox in the 1975 World Series, missing Carlton Pudge Fisk's famous home run in the Sox' infamous Game 6 in order to meet and spend time with a stranger in a bar, who would later become his wife. Will is spurred to try to establish a relationship with Skylar, the young woman he met at a bar near Harvard. Skylar asks Will to move to California with her, where she will begin medical school at Stanford. Will panics at the thought. Skylar then expresses support about his past, which is received as patronizing and triggers a tantrum in which Will storms out of the dorm while in a state of undress. He shrugs off the work he's doing for Professor Lambeau as a joke. Professor Lambeau begs Will not to throw it all away, but Will walks out on him anyway. Will further tells his best friend Chucky that he wants to be a laborer for the rest of his life. However, Chucky urges Will not to waste his potential and confront his inner demons. Chucky's honesty hits home with Will more than anyone else's, even a trained professional like Sean. Professor Lambeau and Sean also squabble about Will's future. Sean believes that Lambeau is pushing Will too fast and also points out that Will's friends are the most dedicated and loyal people he associates with. Will's accidental witnessing of this furious quarrel somehow acts as a catalyst for his decision to enter a deeper level of trust and sharing with Sean. Will goes to another therapy session, where Sean shares that he was also a victim of child abuse. At first, Will is defensive and resentful at Sean's repeated reassurances that it was not Will's fault that he was so horribly abused and abandoned. Will eventually breaks down in tearful acknowledgement.
It's not your fault.
When his buddies present him with a rebuilt Chevy Nova for his 21st birthday, he decides to go to California and reunite with Skylar, setting aside his lucrative corporate and government job offers. As Will embarks on a new journey towards a brighter future, Sean also sets off to explore the world after reconciling with Professor Lambeau. Chucky, too, comes to terms with Will's departure, acknowledging that his friend has found a path to a better life. With a heart full of hope and determination, Will drives off to California, ready to embrace the unpredictable future with Skylar, leaving behind a heartfelt note for Sean, signifying his transformation and newfound pursuit of happiness.